So this is the M&P Metal First Shots. We're gonna be looking at every detail I can give you in a first look, first shots video. Then we're gonna do a 1,000 round update, a part of the new kind of way we're doing videos. This thing, first of all, looks incredible. I know it's a very minor thing, but it looks really good. 7075 T6 aluminum. We're gonna get into all that once we get it on the table, but I'll be honest with you, I just wanna shoot it. So let me go ahead and take first shots right here. Oh yeah, I'm gonna like this. Let's go and get started. So make sure you stay tuned till the end of the video where I'm gonna tell you pros and cons on the M&P Metal, where I see this fitting best in the world of firearms, and also big thanks to Smith & Wesson for sending this out. Obviously I had a lot of requests to do it and they came through. Big thanks to those guys as well. So today I'm gonna walk you through a new pistol from Smith & Wesson. This is the M&P Metal, and today I'm gonna cover quite a bit, man. We're gonna cover specs, we're gonna cover some comparisons with other popular guns in the size range and some not in the size range. And I'm gonna show you everything that you need to know about the M&P Metal. Now this is a first shots video, so essentially I'm giving you a first look at this thing. We're gonna do a 1,000 round update down the line here. It's not gonna take long to get 1,000 rounds through this gun, I can assure you. And I'm going to try to curb my enthusiasm throughout this video and tell you what I like, what I don't like about the M&P Metal. Now I'm gonna get this box out of the way super quick. Here's the gun, right? And then it's gonna come with palm swells, additional palm swells, plates. It's gonna come with 2 magazines, 17 rounds. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way and look at the star of the show. So the M&P series has always been a polymer frame striker fired pistol setup, and it's been very popular. And one thing I like about the M&Ps specifically is that they continue to innovate and make them better, even though the first iterations of the M2.0 were really good, updated the triggers, all that kind of stuff. They found a place where, man, the triggers aren't as good as they need to be, so they updated there, and they've done little changes here and there, and now we have a metal version. So the lower is a 7075 T6 aluminum, so it's a tungsten gray Cerakote that they actually use on slide and frame, stainless steel slide and barrel, armornite finish, all the same stuff that they've been doing. Interchangeable palm swells, so I actually changed to the small on this gun. The medium is what I normally stick with, but this gun felt so much better with that small in place that now I'm considering changing the rest of my M&Ps to the small as well. As I'm going along, I'm gonna show you shooting throughout here so we can kind of keep this thing flowing, and that's one of the most exciting parts about this gun. I can't wait to show y'all some of the shooting here later in the video. But regardless, you have front and rear slide serrations. So what I like that they did here is they took those slide serrations in the front all the way up. I don't really do a lot of press checks. If you do, whatever, I mean, I don't really care. Fish scale style serrations in the rear, but what I do like is that aesthetically, that looks complete to me now, as opposed to what they used to do right here, where they would just take the serrations and just do it on the bottom right here. Now, we have them all the way up. So really nice touch there. Picatinny rail right here, flat face trigger, extended slide release, definitely more extended than some of the guns in the M&P lineup. It seems like their performance centers and some of the ones that are really aimed at quicker shooting or whatever the case may be, they actually extend those, and that's fully ambidextrous. You can reverse the magazine release to the other side if you're a left-handed shooter. The grip texturing in the front, I thought it was going to be a little bit rougher than what it was at the range. I feel like they've toned down the back strap and they kind of increased a little bit here in the front, but I didn't notice it at all, right? There's been times where M&Ps have been so aggressive in the texturing that you literally leave an imprint in your hand while you're shooting, but I didn't notice any of that. Fantastic. 17+1 in the pipe if you live in a free state. I hope that you do. And then right here, this is actually your takedown tool. So once you remove this out of the gun, you can change your palm swells, right? And this can be used as a takedown lever if you don't want to pull the trigger. I rarely ever use it for that. All right. You know, people wonder why I like the M&P series. This is like the third time I've shot this gun, and they're just so natural. Pointing, shooting, it's just incredible, dude. Penis target. Do you really have to wonder why I like this gun so much? Every iteration gets better and better. Now, I was gonna say that you have standard 3-dot sight setup on this gun, but these sights look a little bit different than other iterations of the M&P that I've seen in the past. Either way, they don't co-witness with an optic, so I noticed that on the M&P 10mm, they do co-witness. On this one, they don't. And I mentioned the 10mm because it's like the closest thing I have, trigger size and all that, to the 9mm version here. Regardless, I went ahead and put a 407K on here because it's designed to be run with an optic, and then you have a loaded viewport right through there so you can see brass down in the chamber, extractor beveled in here, right, to get clean extraction. And other than that, man, the pistol looks really good. Now, one thing you will notice is that some of the lines and stuff, the way they've cut them in here, I assume maybe because this is, it's a type of metal or aluminum or whatever, that they were able to actually cut out some of these lines. So what I want to show you is something like this M&P Performance Center. You know, this is all kind of filled in with this grip texturing. There's no additional cuts or anything like this in the frame. Not that that's a big deal, but again, aesthetically, this thing looks pretty freaking insane. I love it, dude. I love what they've done here. Again, I know aesthetics is one of those things, it does not matter to save your life. I get it. But that doesn't mean I can't be excited about the way a gun looks. And when it looks this good and it functions good, that is the goal right there. And this thing looks good. It looks freaking amazing. I love all these little cuts that they've done. And again, that may be because it's actually metal and they have a little bit more flexibility there. I don't really know. Sometimes I find myself trying to find that dot and realizing I have to drop it down a little bit over or a little bit down, just a little bit, because I'm always looking for those irons. I'm so used to using the irons, and I don't like to have my dot right on top of my front sight. I like to have it a little bit above. So, penis target. Oh, penis target. Ah. Hit it again, barely, but I hit it. Very nice. Now I do want to show you compared. So this is like their compact. So you have a full size as well. This is the subcompact on your right. And essentially if we put them slide to slide, you can see how much longer the compact is on the left than the subcompact on the right. Thickness is going to be about the same. And then if we look at the height, one has an optic, one doesn't, so I can't really show you there. But to give you an idea, it's going to be something like that. So you're probably talking about an inch, maybe a little bit more. But again, I don't have these things completely lined up there. That's a little bit better representation of the size difference, the grip difference. And the reason that matters is because this is the part of the gun that you're going to be concealing, right? So let me show you. This is a Glock 19. This is one of the best comparisons I can do as far as size to tell you. Now those slide stops on both guns don't really line up, but it's a little bit longer than the Glock 19. Thickness, again, about the same. The grip on the Glock may be a little bit thicker, but again, I have that small back strap installed. And then I'm gonna attempt to show you this. So you probably have maybe a 1/4 of an inch difference in size. 17 rounds, 15 rounds. So pretty good as far as the size to weight to capacity ratio. Smith & Wesson really did a good job there. I'm going to show you one more, just in case this is something you may be considering on carrying. So this is the Performance Center Shield Plus with a 4-inch barrel. So I'll line them up slide to slide. They're about the same length. I think the one on the left here, the M&P metal, might be a little bit longer. And then, of course, where you're going to save on the Performance Center Shield is in the thinness of it. You're going to save a little bit of weight. Remember, this gun is 30 ounces, the M&P metal is. So you're going to save weight there, and then you're going to save in some length there as well. Now, again, trying to get these, because they both have optics now, it becomes even harder to just turn them on their backs and show you. But that's the kind of difference you're going to be looking at. And again, this is what you're going to conceal. So that's the size of it. I think they did a really good job. If we just look at the specs here really quick, again, you have a 30-ounce gun, 7.4 inches in overall length, and then you're at 1.3 inches thick and 5.5 inches in overall height. So I actually carried this a little bit in my Holster Contour holster outside the waistband, and it did a fantastic job, as you would expect. So really nice job there. So if I'm going outside the waistband, I will carry something like this, but inside the waistband, I would never carry anything like this. It's just a little bit too much weight for me to carry it inside the waistband. So I would pretty much dedicate this to an outside the waistband gun. One of the most exciting parts on the new M&P series from what they've done here is the trigger. Make sure it's clear. And so they now have this flat face trigger as opposed to the old hinged curve style trigger that kind of flattened out as you start to pull it to the rear. But this is one of those innovations I was talking about that they do and they continue to improve upon. So flat face trigger, you get to the wall, boom, it breaks. There's an overstop travel back here, reset, right there. One more time, reset right there. So the reset isn't super audible, it's more tactile. You can feel it more than you can hear it, but it's there, it's quick. The trigger on this gun, incredible. So here's what excites me about the M&P metal is a couple of things, right? Aesthetically, looks amazing. Least important thing, but aesthetically it looks really good. More importantly, the way this gun shoots at the range is incredible. It shoots as good as it looks. No malfunctions at all. So that's a good thing, obviously, and not something I would expect from an M&P anyways. Reinforced frame, all of that good stuff. But the way this gun shoots, man, it's so natural pointing. Remember, that one can't hear you. It can only hear me. I'm the star of the show. All right. Shooting a little bit high when I draw sometimes. Let's go. Last shot, penis target, on target. So, one issue that I had, and this is just with red dots in general, I like to use a lower 1/3. Now, I can't see the irons through this optic at all. It just doesn't sit low enough. There's no cut back here. And these, more importantly, what I prefer is having the irons sit up a little bit taller, something like what you see right here, where the irons are actually taller and they're designed to co-witness with an optic. That's not the case on this gun, but I like to use a lower 1/3 essentially, so I have my dot is separate from my iron sights, right? So let's just pretend I could see my irons through the window. But what that does is that adjusts the way whenever I draw from a holster. Something I've been working on more and more is when I'm at the range, actually drawing from a holster. If I have a holster for that gun, I'm going to start drawing from it because I think this is important, and this is an important aspect that I've missed since I started reviewing guns. And it's all about evolving and changing the way I think on certain things to make it better. Regardless, I'm almost always in line with the irons, but I got to remember with the way I have the dot set up, I have to drop the pistol down just a little bit. Just a little bit. So if here, which I know this is not, so if here is like absolute where I need to be, right, with the irons, well, here is where I need to be with the dot. It's a very minor adjustment, but it is something I notice myself doing. So you'll see me throughout kind of drawing and knowing that I didn't get a good sight picture and wanting to build muscle memory the correct way, redrawing and getting that dot on target. Headshot. Oh, caught him in the air. Penis target. I just, what else do I need to say about the M&P series? This is what I like. In all seriousness, they just keep getting better. Like, it's not like they're like, okay, the M2.0 was good, you know, and this is an M2.0, but the trigger they started with in the M2.0, it was pretty decent, you know, better than the first gen, but they're like, hey, how can we make this even better? And that's what they keep doing, man. And that's why I love these guys. American made, continue to innovate, and just incredible shooters. That's pretty much every M&P is like that. So the 407K did a fantastic job. First time using the 407K, and I must say, I used one of the plates that came with the Smith & Wesson, and this thing looks absolutely perfect in my opinion. A great job there. If you do your part with this gun, man, it is stupid accurate. And I mentioned this a couple times in the video. It's like, people wonder why I like the M&P lineup so much, and just like every M&P, natural pointing, great shooting, comfortable in the hand, and they work. And that's what it's all about for me, man. It's got to work, and I trust Smith & Wesson with my life pretty much daily, whether it's the Shield Plus or the Shield Plus Performance Center, whatever the case may be, they work, I trust them, and they just point so naturally. So once I get my sight, once I get that dot figured out over and over, repetitive, you know, and build it into my muscle memory as opposed to iron sights, which I've shot for so long, it's really incredible, man. So the recoil management is fantastic. I mean, it's a 30-ounce pistol, and that's unloaded, so you know it's pretty stout. It's over 2 pounds once you actually load the gun up. 17+1 capacity. The capacity is fantastic. I'm very glad that I switched to the smaller grip panel here, so that way I actually get a better reach to the trigger, right? With the medium, which is what's installed here on this Performance Center full size, drop the mag, make sure we're clear, which we are. The trigger is a little bit different, so it's kind of harder to gauge this, but I feel like I reached this trigger just fine. And it could be because they've actually changed the trigger design where it sticks out just a little bit further from the frame. So with smaller hands, this was actually maybe more conducive or better if you had the medium grip panel on here, because I found that with the smaller ones on these older M&Ps that I was getting too much finger in there. That does not sound right at all, but you know what I'm saying. So it could be because they've actually changed this trigger where it's a little bit more facing forward or a little bit more forward in the trigger guard now, that I have to reach a little bit more with the medium, so the small works better with this trigger setup. So I'm trying to illustrate my point, and I realize, well, I have the 10 millimeter. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So this will show you a good example of what I'm talking about. Medium backstrap installed with the updated trigger, and you can see, I don't know if you can see, but I can feel how much of a stretch it actually is. So I'm going to change this one to the small. If you look at it now, makes a big difference. And that's why they include all of these different palm swells, so you actually can adjust it to your hand size. It's really a great design. So there's a couple different areas I see this gun really fitting well into, and the first one is a training gun. So it's got a little bit of extra weight. The recoil is not going to be as pronounced as some of the other polymer guns, even some of the other polymer M&Ps, although they're generally low recoil, low muzzle rise, all that kind of stuff. This is even better suited for that. So somebody that's a new shooter, sensitive to recoil, even returning shooters, they can focus on the fundamentals and not have to focus on, you know, how much this thing kicks per se, or whatever the case may be. So it's great there. So concealed carry, yes. I would say more outside the waistband for me personally, or open carry. That's not something I'm a huge fan of, but if that's something you want to do, you know, go for it. Make sure you have a good gun belt and holster. Again, I have videos to these things to help you out there if you don't really know what to get. And then also, maybe even a competition gun. I know that the performance centers that are ported and stuff, they're going to keep that muzzle down even more. So it may be better to go with one of those. I don't really know, whatever you want to do there, but it could be a good competition gun. Super accurate, you know. And also a good home defense gun as well. Put a light on it. And obviously, one thing I would do, even if you don't use it for home defense, is put a set of backup irons, suppressor height, if you will, that will co-witness with that optic just in case it dies. So I want to say I'm somewhere in the neighborhood of 250 rounds. I only loaded each mag to 10 rounds as well. Well, like 10 to 13 or 14, you know, it wasn't always 10, but you know what I'm saying. I shot quite a few rounds. It's not going to take long to get to 1,000 rounds. So if anything changes from here to 1,000 rounds, I'll tell you in that update. But as it sits right now, with first shots from the M&P metal, dude, I absolutely love it. I don't know how many times I've done an M&P, and at the end, I'm like, I absolutely love this thing. But they've done an amazing job, dude. The trigger is way better. Let me say, if you are doing maybe carry in a contour, because this is short enough where you could actually conceal it, this is a great time for this pistol to come out, because colder weather means you could wear a hoodie or a jacket over and cover this holster, because again, it's not too long down here. So the contour holster, you can see a little bit of an opening there, but it fits incredibly well. So it is something you could carry, but I would not carry this inside the waistband at all. Very nice. So one negative, it's going to be a little bit more weight than some of the polymer M&Ps. And then also, I wish they would have put the higher sights, the suppressor height sights, if you will, like they did even on the 10 millimeter version of this gun. So that way it co-witnesses with your dot. They didn't do that. It's unfortunate, is what it is there. Other than that, man, right now, I got to give it a glowing review, dude. 9.5 out of 10, dude. If they would have put suppressor height sights on this gun, I probably would have said 10 out of 10. This thing is absolutely incredible, man. Just, I don't know, man. You know, sometimes that's why it's worth it, especially that's why I tell, you know, people that are new to this, go to a range that will let you rent guns and put multiple guns in your hand. Don't take my advice or your friend's advice or anybody's advice on, you know, Glock or M&P or SIG or HK or whatever until you put it in your hands, because these things, for whatever reason, are like an extension of my hand and they fit like a glove. Is what it is, man. Thank you guys for joining me for First Shots with the M&P Metal. If you want to see anything more from me, if you want to see me compare this to something else or whatever, make sure you leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think about the metal version of the M&P and leave those down below as well. I'm always getting video ideas from y'all, and I do read the comments, as y'all know. Thank you guys for joining me. See you in the next one. And as always, hold 'em down.